So for this demo, we're going to talk about making a jump ring. A jump ring is just a small circle of wire. It is used basically everywhere in jewelry making. So it's used to connect components. It can be used to make chains, chainmail. This is like a giant jump ring essentially. So it's one of those building blocks of jewelry making, okay? So again, for the tools, I'm going to be using some diagonal cutters, flathead pliers, round nose pliers, a file. You can use a ring mandrel if you want to make jump rings that are really large, or anything that is circular. So again, this is like an X-Acto knife base, Sharpie, large marker. Just the diameter of whatever you're using is what the diameter of the jump ring will be. I'm actually just going to use my needle nose pliers, okay? As far as wire goes, you can use 20 gauge, that holds the shape nicely. You can also use 16 gauge, a little bit sturdier, so stronger. They're not very good for small jump rings. So if you're wanting really small ones, I'd use 20. Larger ones work really good with 16 because it holds its shape. 24 gauge, I still wouldn't use 24 gauge because again, it's so flimsy that it's not going to hold the shape that you put it in, okay? So for a jump ring, depending on how many you want to make, is how much wire you're going to need. I am still going to stick to about 5 inches. Okay, so I'm going to take my wire, and on my needle nose pliers, I'm going to make them about the size of the base, okay? So I'm going to grip the wire. My hand is facing up or open up towards me, and I'm going to turn it, let go, turn it back, grip, and repeat. So what this does is it eventually makes a coil. So you can see it starting to turn into almost like a spring, okay? So that's one option. It's tempting when you're using needle nose pliers to just want to grip it and wrap it around, but you can see the problem there is that you're wrapping it around both, right? So one more time. My wire's a little janky now, that's okay. Hand is open towards me. I'm gonna put the wire in the middle, grip it and turn, let go, grip, and keep repeating that until I've done it on my entire spool of wire. You do want to kind of keep the wire in the same position, or else you'll have a bunch of different size of jump rings, okay? Just to show you, not on needle nose pliers, this time I'm going to use 16 gauge. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife, okay? I'm going to hold it. I'm going to give myself a little bit extra to hold on to. In this case, you can just wrap it around. So if you're just using one instrument to get the size and shape, you can wrap it around like that, okay? Either way, these are pretty big for just connecting pieces, but they would be good for like chain or something else, okay? Once you have your coil of wire, on the ends, you're gonna have extra pieces. So in the middle, I'm going to trim that piece of wire off, okay? I only did it on one row of my rings. Now I'm gonna take this and I'm going to cut in that same spot, so right in the middle on the row above. What that does is it releases your circle, so your jump ring, okay? You're gonna do that through all of these until you have as many jump rings as you need. You can try to cut 2 at a time, but oftentimes these pliers aren't sharp enough to cut through that much. So I stick to just cutting 1 at a time until I have as many jump rings as I want, okay? Jump rings are nice to kind of just have on hand. So I would never throw away any of these jump rings. I would just keep them maybe in a little baggie in your box so you can use them whenever you're ready, okay? Jump rings have a specific way to open and close them. It's really tempting to grab some pliers and pull them apart like that. But what that does is it distorts the shape. So you will never get that to go back into a perfect circle again, okay? The correct way to open and close is to twist. So you're gonna grip them on both sides. I'm going to twist them open. I could feed another jump ring on there, do what I need to do, and then I'm going to twist it back shut, okay? That preserves the perfect circular shape. It looks really sloppy if these get out of whack, okay? The last thing you need to do before you consider your jump ring done is to file it. So I'm going to twist it open. If you look up close, you can see again, it doesn't really cut, it pinches. So when it's closed, it's not gonna sit together very nice. So you're gonna hold it with some pliers and you're just gonna hit this with a file until that point kind of mellows out and is a little bit flatter so that it sits nicely against the other side. So this doesn't take too long. And once you guys learn how to use a jeweler's saw, there's a quicker way to make a bunch at once. But I'm just gonna hit this really quick with a file on both sides. And once those are flat, you can close it back shut, okay? But again, you wanna take your time, make sure those are filed nice and flat. That looks pretty good. This side could use a little bit more. There's kind of a weird spot right there. So I'm gonna file those, close it back up, and that is how you make jump rings.